Yes, the Amy Klobuchar underwear you kept finding on Lindale.
Yeah. Taylor is tracking news like the PACs, documenting the true history of the 2025 campaign. What I spent 2025 doing was an investigation of Klobuchar underwear. Someone scattering across the Wedge Whittier area these like size 3 G-string bikini things with Amy Klobuchar's face printed on the front. I still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. The Clob Undies, as they're called. This episode is sponsored by Clob Undies. It's the only underwear that I wear. They sent me a sample pack, and I have them on right now.
We're rolling. This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
But it was hard. It's a long year. You look back to January and it's just like, oh my God, this is just never ending.
It is hard to remember what was important about the year. And sometimes you feel like, was anything important? Did anything matter? Is nobody going to compliment me about my hat?
Oh, is it new? Oh, a winter style Bryant hat.
Yeah,
oh.
See?
Oh, that is new.
Yeah. Taylor's not the only Wedge Live fashion
getting
icon.
in on a new market.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is that exclusive or is it on the store?
I didn't put it in the store yet. I just bought it for myself to see how it would turn out, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it turned out well.
And now you can model it on the podcast.
Yeah,
people can see it on YouTube.
The traditional hat is more comfortable for me to wear than these beanie style hats. It's a winter hat that says Bryan Avenue. For if you're listening to this, it's a winter hat that says Bryan Avenue. It's got the bicycle on it. It's the signature Wedge Live hat. All right, we are back for a year-end 2025 wrap-up episode of the Wedge Live podcast. Everyone has prepared and made their lists well in advance of the recording of this episode. We are all so prepared with the best of lists, the worst of lists, including Josh Martin, who prepared. You prepared, Josh, right?
Sure.
And Taylor Dahlin.
Yeah, I got some preparations done.
Thank you both for joining us. I thought we would start off talking about a news item, though, something that has just happened yesterday and today. Maybe Josh can help us with the details here, but
I'll try.
It's hard to know
still
exactly.
Developing.
Yeah, This is a live podcast about wedge issues, so we don't quite have the full story developing, as Josh said. So a budget deal between apparently Aisha Chugtai, the city council's budget chair, and Jeremiah Ellison were leading negotiations. This is what I gather with the mayor's administration to avoid a veto of the budget, which I believe, Josh, would have been the second time it has ever happened. The first time was last year.
Correct.
Right? And so they avoided that veto of the budget. Robin Wansley was openly, like I have never seen, critical of both Chugtai and Ellison. That you've never seen that because they are all three of those people in the same progressive faction of the council, and so don't often criticize each other in public. So Wansley kind of went off about the backroom deal and how she's learning about this, from a press release on Tuesday. Very upset because it targeted some of her budget amendments. One of them was the non-fatal shooting task force, and then she spoke at length about how she wanted the $1.4 million for emergency housing vouchers to be ongoing funding, and it got switched to basically temporary funding that will expire at some point. And the mayor seemed motivated by trying to prevent anybody in his office who currently has a job from being fired. I am so skeptical of that motivation. I think Jeremiah Ellison used the phrase "ask me members" a couple of times to describe those people. And they may be in a union, but I don't know how much value all of them. I'm sure some of them do real work, and others of them are like the ex-Fry policy aide who participated in the food fraud, stole $1 million. There's also somebody who works in the mayor's office who like makes rude gestures at me. She's in charge of harassing the mayor's political opponents at events. Made rude gestures at me at a I don't even know how to describe the event. It was that Millard event late in the year last year.
Most surreal event.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that event, but the main point is that she was rude to me, and that's the most important thing. Like if
She done it to me too.
Right, she was blocking
The 19
Taylor.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the 19 bar. She'd like come stand in front of me. I'm like, I'm not trying to talk to him. Like, what are you even, like.
Yeah. So like
Stop.
if the people the mayor is hiring into his office of 15 are people doing things like this, I don't think they're focused on doing the work of the city. And maybe we could cut several $100,000 from that budget and spend it on housing vouchers with no impact to services that we're getting. Also, like the length that Fry went to like save Lisa Goodman's patronage job. I mean, there's a lot of fat to cut in the executive branch, and not everyone needs to keep their job. And not all layoffs are created equal. We could afford to do away with some of the people that are working at City Hall, especially if it means funding very important things.
Yeah, that's a big disappointment for me.
Not having Lisa Goodman lose her job was disappointing for you, or the housing voucher thing?
Yeah, the Lisa thing. I just think that, like, just if your job is basically this event planning, how did you lose both Holodazzle and Aquatennial?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so what are they replaced by? The truck parades and the dinner d'honneurs? Like, those are not the same to replace these, like, institutions of the city. So I just think that's, really, this is your job. How do you lose these two iconic festivals?
Yeah, Lisa Goodman, you had one job, and it was save Holodazzle, and you failed. So what is the status of the veto games that are going on at City Hall, Josh, right now?
Yeah, so the council, which is somewhat typical at the end of the year, right? There's always like the last meeting of the year, but under the city charter, the mayor has 5 days, excluding Sundays, to sign or veto almost any council action. There's a handful of exceptions, but pretty much any council action. And so it's fairly typical at the last meeting of the year for them to schedule another meeting just in case the mayor vetoes something, so that they can have a meeting to hold the veto override. Because I assume if there's I don't think this happened before, but if there's no meeting for them to hold a veto override, then the veto would stand. So that they scheduled a meeting for Tuesday night. So yesterday night is the time we're taping this, which they described as a meeting in case of vetoes. At that point, nothing had been vetoed, but there was these amendments as a deal that was worked out with the mayor's office in order apparently to avoid a veto of the budget. Nothing else was vetoed, so nothing at that point, so nothing else was taken up at that meeting. Since that meeting, there has been word that the mayor has vetoed or will veto the humane encampment response ordinance. I have checked limbs, and it's not up in limbs yet. And there's rumors and concerns that maybe the mayor will veto other things. And because the council has not scheduled another meeting at this point, that may mean that those vetoes will just stand, even if the council would have had the votes to override them. So we'll see what happens with that. It would have been wise for the council to schedule another adjourned meeting that was after the deadline in case of vetoes.
That's too soft, Josh. It's malpractice not to have scheduled another meeting because obviously,
I'll go with that.
either you're okay with Jacob Fry vetoing these things and you don't really care if you have a chance to override it or not, or what's the other alternative? They're not stupid. They're not stupid. And it was raised during yesterday's meeting that this was a possibility and they should take action to avoid those things. Like, hey, Mayor Fry, we're here now. If you're going to veto while we're here. And so they knew it was coming, and failing to work out a contingency plan is just malpractice. And I don't think it's a matter of stupidity. For whatever reason, it's a mystery to me what the reason you would just ride off into your winter vacation and say, Mayor Fry, here's a free pocket veto that we have no ability to override. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know for sure what happened. I haven't followed up with any sources, but clearly I'm not buying any arguments that they were just tricked here, because they're very clearly aware of the mechanisms to address this possibility, because they already did it just a few days ago.
Right.
So they could have done it again. They know how to do it.
I'm not going to say a single mean thing about Jacob Fry over this, because it's not Jacob Fry's fault. Of course he was going to do this. It's the fable, as I have been saying all day today, it is the fable of the frog and the scorpion, and I don't blame the scorpion for stinging the frog. I blame the frog for agreeing to carry this terrible mare scorpion across the river, thinking that he wouldn't sting them halfway across.
So I have 3 theories so far, none of which are good. But one possibility I can think of is that it was a bargaining chip in the budget negotiations, and obviously this didn't make it into the public letter about what they agreed to in the budget negotiations, but maybe this was part of those negotiations. Another possibility is that they actually didn't have the votes to override the veto, because maybe some council members wanted this ordinance to die.
They wanted to vote for it, but they wanted Jacob Fry to take the blame for killing it.
Right, but they want Jacob Fry to take the blame, so they didn't have to fix it themselves by voting to sustain the veto. I guess the third possibility I've considered is that people really, really wanted to get to their winter vacations, and so they didn't have the votes to override the veto for a different reason, because some of the people who would have voted to override the veto would not be there.
We need to shorten the veto time frame. End of business day on Monday. You had a weekend to think about it. If the council passes something on a Thursday, just get it done by Monday, please, Mr. Mayor. Because holding these vetoes strategically, it gets on my nerves. And like Melvin Carter did it in St. Paul last year. Another reason that Minneapolis City Council, I was thinking, because I asked Mayor Carter about it on the episode the bike ride I did with him this year. And while I'm asking this question, I'm like, what incompetence is going on at the St. Paul City Council that they didn't schedule a meeting to potentially override a veto? I'm thinking that would never happen in Minneapolis. No, we're too on the ball. We are grizzled veterans. We know that devious things happen. We would never do this.
You thought.
And here it is, shortly after that episode, it's happening in Minneapolis. It's inexcusable.
Egg on your face now.
Yeah, egg on my face. Taylor, do you have any thoughts about what's happening here with the veto shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the same as you. Like, I just took it as like a bygone expectation. Like, of course he's going to veto it. Like, there's just no question in my mind. Like, I don't even know why, but it's just like it feels like it's just like a reflex at this point for him. Like, just veto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's frustrating, because it's like this could have, I was watching the meeting last night, and Katie Cashman was like, can we ask for the recess so they could review all the documents, and yeah, it's frustrating.
On the encampment policy, like, whether you agree with the specific things that are called for in that or not, at least it is a public document that we all can see, as opposed to like the internal policy that the mayor and his reg services department say that they're operating under. Like, at least it is enshrined and something we can hold them to, as opposed to just having nothing public. There's a value in having this passed, whether you agree with like the specific provisions of it or not. Like we should have something like this for sure. Okay, so stay tuned for later in the episode. We're gonna declare a Wedge Live Person of the Year. Did you all come with nominations for your Person of the Year?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that later. Josh is thinking, no, oops, I forgot. I don't read communications from the host of this podcast. Should we do your campaign finance story now?
Oh, of all the fun things.
Do I have to bring up Taylor Dahlin?
Yeah.
.com?
Yeah, let me see. All my favorite weird things on there.
Best campaign finance expenditures of the year.
I didn't number them. Like, I didn't do any. I know I made it to 10, but I didn't like number
It needs
them
to
at
be
all.
in the form of a listicle. People love lists.
I thought the bluebirds were like my top one.
That's kind of boring. I'm not a fan
They
of
were-
bluebirds.
They were the ones, like, I saw them in person on election day, and I was like, oh shit, I cannot wait for this to be on a campaign finance report. This is going to be great. And then it actually did show up. But then my favorite really was the surprise of finding JP Bullfrog getting paid.
You were fascinated by this JP Bullfrog character.
I am. I just love the weirdos. And I'm like, this guy is so weird.
We could do a whole episode. So let's do this like an interview, Taylor. Who is JP Bullfrog? How did he end up showing up on a campaign finance expenditure?
He's just a Ward 9 guy who, like, I don't even know who he is. He's really prolific on Facebook, but he got paid to, like, I saw him because he was, like, posting all these videos with Jason Chavez, and at first he didn't like him, and then he liked him, and then he was hanging out with Dan Orban. He's got pictures with, like, Omar Fateh and Hamoudi Sabri. Like, it's just everybody. And so he just posts on Facebook all day long. And he was feuding with Jason at one point, and then he posted like, "We're all cool now." And then I see he gets paid to like drive around with like Dan Orban signs. Like he covered his vehicle, like four, like two on one side, one on. He's just driving around Minneapolis with his dog. And then he has videos or pictures on his Facebook of like the Dan Orban signs attached to his canoe.
Wow.
So it's just, and like Dan Orban's campaign report, like he also paid Agape $2,000 for one event, which feels like
Dan Orban has questionable expenditures on the Dan Orban campaign finance report.
Yeah.
What exactly were they doing for the event?
I think it was the venue, maybe food. I don't know. It was just a one night event, like in the George Floyd Square. I think maybe in their venue. So it was just like, I mean, nothing should be $2,000.
Especially when you're Dan Orban. Like, how much did he spend
it's a big
this
chunk
year,
of change for
Josh?
him.
What was Dan Orban's total spend?
That was like the biggest, and he didn't take much in too. So it was just like
he certainly had more than last time. But like it was on the lower end. Dan Orban raised $5,700.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it would have been, halfway decent for a park board campaign.
So I'm doing the math.
Not so
here,
much
Taylor.
for city council.
Taylor, you know what your campaign finance story was missing was glorious statistics, like $450 divided by 5,700. You said, Josh.
Yeah.
So almost 8% of city council candidate Dan Orban's total spend for city council Ward 9 this year was JP Bullfrog, covering JP Bullfrog's car in signage.
35% on the Agape event.
And 35% was a random payment to Agape.
People
are getting ripped off.
I know. You find these things. I looked through every single report, and I was just like, oh, okay.
And if you go to TaylorDahlin.com, you can see that JP Bullfrog, Internet Gadfly, has tattoos on each of his fingers. So if he makes a fist, this is how he poses for photos. He makes a fist, and he puts it up to the camera, and he's got tattoos on his fingers that spell out MPLS. So he's the ultimate Minneapolis internet weirdo gadfly type character, JP Bullfrog.
I hope he runs next time around.
Is his real last name Bullfrog?
No, it's actually Jeremiah Boblet, which
That's a worse name than Bullfrog.
it's the same.
Okay.
Be Bullfrog.
And we've already talked about Elizabeth Schaefer's Bluebird costumes, a relative steal at $257 out of the tens of millions, apparently, that she has at her disposal.
I will say
Only
I couldn't
like
find
a
them.
$250,000.
Okay, only $250,000. The most.
I couldn't find them online anywhere, so I think they may be homemade though. Like I could not find these. So I don't know.
How many Bluebird costumes were there?
I think there were 6 of them.
6.
We saw there were 3 at Lake and Hennepin, or Franklin and Hennepin, and then apparently there was some down on like in Uptown too.
Yeah, that's a deal. Getting 6 Bluebird costumes for just $257 compared to the JP Bullfrog expenditure, and the proportion of Elizabeth Schaefer's spending made up by these Bluebird costumes, quite a deal.
Yeah, so I think she spent the most on a city council campaign of any candidate in history, defeating the record set in 2023 by Andrea Jenkins.
What did Andrea Jenkins spend in 2023?
Just under $200K.
Oh my God! That must
She's in debt.
Wow.
She did end in debt, yes.
And she barely squeaked it out, so
Yep.
I guess worth every penny.
38 very expensive votes.
Yes. Taylor, we have Michael Baskin's suit, which became
those were great.
Which became the subject of a campaign finance complaint.
Which he never showed up to like. I was in the phone hearing and he didn't actually show to like talk about it, so that was really disappointing. I wanted to hear him justify the suits.
So it never actually went to a hearing.
It did, but he didn't show up personally, so it was just like Luke talking and not Michael at all. Very disappointing.
Here's another one where you should have done the math on the proportion of the total spent, because Michael Baskins probably didn't spend that much. To spend $1,758 on suits is a lot.
Yeah.
What was this?
And then
Baskins raised about $13,000.
So more than 10% of what he spent was on suits.
Correct.
for events that never happened. He never went to them. He dropped out before the event, so he got some suits out of the deal.
Wow. Okay. And Lydia Millard's paint, Ward 10 classic expenditure. This one confused me because you're only going to have a campaign office for a couple of months. And I think these are from July, as Taylor reports. $1,972 worth of purple paint for an office that will only run from July to November, and then you're gone.
Yeah, I've never painted a campaign office. It's whatever color it was when we got in there.
Yeah, leave the holes, all the dirt on. If there's dirt on the wall, who cares?
Yeah. Well, and then, you know, the picture they posted online with the t-shirts and the hats, it's all just giving like kind of like store, like retail experience.
Right, it's the Lydia Millard pop-up shop is what it looks like.
Yeah. Right. And then someone online kind of was justifying it like to Lydia Defender, and they said something like, she wants to provide a welcoming space for her volunteers and constituents. I was like, constituents? She doesn't have constituents.
Also,
like,
who
Well, she
brings
would have if she
voters?
won.
yeah.
Offices are for like campaign staff and volunteers. If you can even afford to have an office, like you're not bringing voters into your office, really.
Yeah. It's just,
I don't know. For
Is Lydia the next biggest spender for council after Schaefer?
I think so.
I think
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
about 180,000, and
Yeah.
she did not win.
For all the criticism, so the Millard campaign line against Chugtai was, Chugtai is a celebrity. She has a fan base. She doesn't care about us, right? She's just like this celebrity person. And I think that's what the Millard campaign understood the role of a council member to be, is like you're running to be an influencer kind of, because why else would you spend all this money on purple paint and have like a pop-up shop display of all the hats and t-shirts that you have? Here's you put Eric Harris Bernstein on your list, Taylor. $2,000 for bench making supplies. He made wooden benches to distribute around the city.
And then the park board stole them all.
Have they all been confiscated?
I know that like Dwayne Davis and his husband Kareem had put one in North Commons, and they were able to rescue it and put it in their backyard before it got taken. But like the Loring Park one lasted for a while, and I remember one night I kind of like was biking through and I took a picture of it, and then I went back the next day and it was gone.
It is innovative campaign strategy to build a bunch of wooden benches and engrave them with a campaign disclosure prepared and paid for by Eric Harris Bernstein for Board of Estimate and Taxation. Nobody's ever done that before.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's a yard sign you can sit on.
So it's both a campaign, promoting your campaign and also signing the crime scene, because you can't just leave benches all over the place, and you're basically creating a trail for the police to follow back to you if they want to charge you with the crime of littering the city with benches for people to sit on and enjoy, which is a crime.
There will be a new park board in charge soon, so maybe they can ask park board staff what happened to the benches.
Eric Harris Bernstein again, the 2-time appearance on the TaylorDahlin.com
he raised too much money.
list. Yes, he did.
He raised a lot of money for BET.
He was the Elizabeth Schaefer of BET with the amount of money that he had. Eric Harris Bernstein.
Yeah, porta potties. She had security on election night. He has porta potties. It's just like you're just flush with cash. You just
300.
And did anyone even use the porta potty that night? It seemed like people were just going inside.
Yeah, probably didn't get. I don't think it got much use. $354, which I didn't know porta potties were that cheap, that you could get a porta potty for just $354, which he...
Yeah, so Eric Harris Bernstein raised like $24,000, which for council would not be impressive, but even for park board, that would put you near the top. Not at the top, but in the upper echelons for park board, and that's just crazy money for BET.
1.5% of Eric Harris Bernstein's campaign was spent on porta potties, we can say. Taylor, your article needed all of these stats that I'm coming up
I'm not
with.
a math person. I'm not a math person.
How much did he spend on benches? 2,000 divided by 24,000? Is that what you said? Wow. Fully 8% of Eric Harris Bernstein's BET budget was spent on bench making supplies. What's he doing? How can we trust this person?
He did win. He did. I think Eric did some digging, and he said he won like more votes than any BET candidate ever or something. So maybe he's onto something. Maybe porta potties and benches are the way, and everybody's going to do it now. Yeah,
he beat, for the first time in a long time, and maybe ever, he's a BET candidate who beat undervote. Rarely does a BET candidate get more votes than undervote. But Eric Harris Bernstein did, and we salute. Sorry, I have to apologize to Eric Harris Bernstein because we did an election wrap-up episode where we didn't mention him at all. he did bring that up to me, that he thought that was quite an accomplishment, winning an election, a citywide election, getting all his votes, and we didn't think it was important enough to mention last time. We're mentioning you now, Eric. All your questionable expenditures, we're talking about you now.
They're great expenditures. I mean, maybe, yeah. It is very impressive he got so many votes. I don't know how he did it.
Lydia Millard's drummer. I was startled by the drummer at the Ward 10 convention. She spent $500. And again, if you're lying against your opponent, is there a celebrity with a fan base? Hiring a drummer for a convention performance? I mean, you obviously conceive of this job as being a celebrity, so it kind of blunts the attack you're trying to make.
Yeah, the whole performance was just like, I don't know.
Miriam DeMello's rubber bands.
I was gonna say there's some math there.
How much are rubber bands?
174.
That feels like a lot of rubber bands.
I'm assuming it's for like door knocking stuff.
It is.
Some people wrap their lit in rubber bands. Is that a good practice
you
to
could,
wrap your lit in rubber bands?
It doesn't seem like rubber bands are a perfectly normal expense for a campaign. I don't understand how you spend like almost $200 on rubber bands.
I don't know. You knock a lot of doors. You're dropping a lot of lit. I don't know how much a rubber band costs.
Well, they're cheap. They're pretty cheap.
I wonder how much, Josh, price this out for us. How many rubber bands does $174 buy you on Amazon?
Well, I mean, I did some.
You did the math here. Taylor did the math.
I did a little math. I did on this one. I found some like you can get like 700 for like $9.99. So she could have bought like 12,000. And Jameson got 8,436 first place votes. So it's just like, how many rubber bands are you
What do you
using?
need 12,000 rubber bands for?
In Miriam's defense, you know how sometimes you get a new hobby and like you buy all the things for the hobby before you actually know what the hobby requires? And you're like, oh man, I didn't really do too well with this hobby, and yet I bought all this stuff. I think Miriam probably has bags and bags of rubber bands in her house.
Saving them for her next run.
Maybe, or... and what's the ethics about using your leftover campaign rubber bands for like personal stuff later? Is that unethical, Josh? Is that a campaign finance violation?
I haven't thought about this for rubber bands specifically. Nobody's asked me that question before. For rubber bands specifically.
But are there other things for which you have thought of this scenario, using campaign material for other purposes after the campaign is over? What do you do with the material you collect?
It's an interesting question because it did come up in like in Luke Mielke's complaint against Michael Baskins about the suits. And he was like, these suits are clearly for his personal use and the campaign is incidental. But the judges said it's fine. So I guess it's okay.
Well, the math.
Becca also had like a Macy's purchase of like event wardrobe.
Well, at least Becca ran all the way through from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I will say like it doesn't seem crazy in general that like buying professional clothes would be something a candidate might need for a campaign. There was just kind of some of the specifics of the Baskins case that were a little odd.
He clearly ran for office so he could buy himself some new clothes. That's what that was about. Elizabeth Schaefer's ice cream, $259. Ice cream with Elizabeth. Over 4 days.
Doesn't seem weird.
4 days worth of ice cream.
If someone do the math of how much, what size and how much, they could figure out exactly how many people came to these, but we don't know what size they served. So
her office was right next to Sebastian Joe's, so they could really just, whoever shows up, run over with them, buy them an ice cream, and do it that way, because who is showing up to an Elizabeth Schaefer event? It probably 5 people a day showed up for ice cream, and it turned...
It's in the workday, 3 to 5 on Fridays? Like
3 to 5 on Fridays, ice cream with Elizabeth.
Weird happy hour type thing. I don't...
Yeah. Okay.
Happy hour, but with ice cream instead.
$5,000. Pearl Warren and Ward 5 spent $5,000 on Scott Graham's win bonus, which I think is a shame because I doubt Scott Graham had much of anything to do with anyone winning an election this year.
He wasn't managing it obviously at the beginning either because he chaired the Ward 5 convention, and I don't know when he took over managing it. Yeah.
That's especially funny. The guy who chaired the Ward 5 convention goes on to manage the campaign of a candidate in Ward 5. That seems unusual.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with Scott. That's yeah, there's just, the ward, a lot of like Ward 7 people in that like moderate world saw the opportunity in Ward 5. And like Tom Hoke had the PAC, it was a lot of like those people like kind of pouncing on this opportunity.
To read that article, go to taylordahlin.com. Thank you, Taylor, for all your work in compiling hilarious campaign expenditures. I think we're doing our best and worst moments.
I don't even want to name him that a lot of people will know who I'm talking about. I've been harassed for years over someone who doesn't live here but is involved in politics here, and I feel like I got like some like revenge for being able to get in the all of Minneapolis meetings this year, and then also the John Wall case. They got mad at me for that, so that was a best moment for me. feeling like
Infiltrating landlord. No, that's what I did. You infiltrated
That's what you
PAC
did, yeah.
meetings.
the landlord, yeah, the Zoom packs, and then I got caught at the last. Finally did put the clip online, but I was just getting sent these clips, and like this is one of my best moments because it's also like best mystery, like who it was sending me these. But they sent me one, and I joined it, and it wasn't one of those big calls anymore. It was literally just Steve Min there. I was like, oh shit. And so I just like, and I was just this little white doggy picture, and he's just like, who is this? Blah, blah, blah. And I just made up a name, and I made up a name of who sent me there. And I refused to leave. And because I was getting invites from the inside, they couldn't kick me out, and I could kick them out because it was like, this person joined. Do you want to accept them? So 2 other people joined, and I figured out who they are. One of them was like Bruce Dotchus, and the other, I don't remember who their names were. And then eventually I wouldn't leave, and so Steve was just like, get out of here. So, and they all left. So that was one of my favorite moments, was getting in all those packs.
Taylor, you're selling yourself short here. One of the best things to happen this year is infiltrating these PAC meetings and providing us with hilarious video content, poll results, screenshots of the Fry Pack strategies, and you show up to one at the end where you get found out, and it's basically a Steve Min sting operation. You go into a Zoom meeting and it's just Steve Min. Imagine opening up a Zoom meeting and you expect to see a crowd of ghouls and it's just Steve Min.
That's the worst. I was just like, well, I just gotta go for it. I'm this person, and they're like, yeah. But yeah, so much of that was like, it's wild how much of the stuff that came out of those meetings has just like become a part of like, the public understanding of what happened, especially the Lisa Goodman clips.
Mm-hmm.
And just like all of that is just like, like so much so that someone was talking about it on Twitter and like tweeting at Joe Rad and being like, you publicly said that you guys would go negative so the Fry campaign would stay positive. And I was like, I know this is all just like commonly accepted, but that was never public.
Right. Yeah. We would not know the history of 2025 and the campaign, and the PACs played such a big role, like more PAC spending this year than ever. And we would not know it if not for Taylor Dahlin invading these meetings with her alter ego. Can we reveal who your alter ego was? Is it Doggy Picture Person?
I had a couple. At first I was just a guy named Robert Whitaker, and I accidentally joined a meeting last night under that name, and I was like, oh, I gotta and then I switched because I was like,
always change your alias after the infiltration is over.
Well, I was like, if I have to talk, I have to be a woman. So then I think I became Ellen Johnson.
Okay.
And I had a little doggy picture, but I also like put lotion in my vest, in my camera, and I like had on a wig and glasses. Like I was really going to be like, if I had to turn on my camera to be
You were ready with the disguise if necessary.
Yeah, well, I was afraid because they knew. They were, because like even in this meeting, Steve was just like, I'm not talking. I'm sensitive to things like this. But it's like, they got, and then I think he said something publicly, or Steve was arguing with someone in a Star Tribune comments, and he was just like, she legally accessed the meeting.
Right,
and it's
hacked
like,
them.
I joined it and there's like 50 people there. Like no one's asking like, hey, who are you? Hey, you know what I mean? Just basic OPSEC. It's just like, I just joined, anyone could have joined. Like
my favorite thing from when I infiltrated those landlord meetings in 2023? I think it was, or 21.
17.
No, it was 2021.
Was it 20? Oh yeah, because it was VTOP.
They started getting super paranoid. I set it up so that my, I don't know, should I reveal these details? I probably won't go back to infiltrating any more Zooms in the future. But the way I did it was...
Up to you, John.
I'm going to reveal it because it's so funny. I got this video...
Please hide it from me, and I didn't want to do it. So.
I have this video of an old man. I don't know why this video exists on YouTube, but it did. And I downloaded it, of an old man laying in bed looking at his webcam. I'm like, yeah, this is the perfect representation of the kind of person who shows up to a landlord Zoom meeting, is an old white man laying in bed, just being irritated about various tenant protections being enacted by the city council. No one will ever suspect. And so I set that video as like the background video on Zoom. And then I covered my camera with like a white piece of paper. So only the background video would show. And so it's just a loop of this. Luckily, this old man was not moving, but his eyes were blinking. And so you could loop it without it being obvious that it's just a loop. And it was fairly long. Again, I don't know why this video existed on YouTube for me to grab it, but it did. And that was my alter ego. And my favorite thing about that was they were going hardcore with their security, like, turn your webcam on, turn it on, or I'll kick you out.
But they never make
And little did they know it was the guy with his camera on, just laying in bed, who was the infiltrator and telling stories about this terrible guy from Wedge Live who was leaking all their comments and the video of Latricia saying she's just there to sell whatever they tell her to sell and put on fancy clothes. Oh, those were good times. It's so exhilarating, Taylor. I know you'll agree, to infiltrate a Zoom meeting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially, I mean, the first one was the wildest and that one came up in one of these campaign finance suits or somewhere, but we were watching it. I didn't have time to actually screen record it, but we were watching it at the city elections office where I was there to photograph some people. Like, I was watching it with some people, and like even like Robin Walmsley was watching some of it. Like she showed up and we were like, Robin, you gotta come check this out. And so we were just like, at one point we were just like, it would be so funny if we turned on the camera right now and they would see like Robin watching this, because like it was just, there was no security.
You could get Robin like a George Washington wig, like a white wig to wear, and they would never notice.
Yeah.
That
was the best moment. One of my best moments also, I really loved their slideshow that had that slide that was like, step 1, get more votes. Step 2, win. Like that was great content.
Yeah. Well worth every penny. All the strategists and the organizers. Remember when they called Joe Rad and Nico like the best strategist in Minnesota and the best organizer? And at least in Nico's case, working on the Millard campaign, I don't think that was borne out in the end.
Best. Two of my, then I just have these other little like random lists here of like, so it's like a best moment. Like if some unsolved mysteries, like I don't know who was sending me those links. Unsolved mystery, those weird park board signs that were like no new land grab. Like we never figured out.
I said
no one ever told her.
No land grab, new park board or something like that.
So that's like a mystery I would still like solve from this year. And then two of my favorite like convention quotes this year, going all the way back to the SD60 special one. There was Josh Preston, who at one point they were talking about how the convention, like, we're going to close. We only have the space until this time. He goes, the sidewalk never closes. Third spaces exist wherever we are. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. And then I also liked Matt Hill at the 64A convention Josh and I went to. He was saying things like St. Paul boondoggle and like behooves you. Like he just like had a really fun way of speaking. So those are my favorite convention quotes.
St. Paul boondoggle.
And going over to that convention, it made me realize how much we take for granted living in CD5, the Ilhan territory, where we get sambusas at our conventions. They don't.
I mean, the St. Paul DFL barely exists.
Well, this was a.
They exist again now.
Do they?
Yeah, as of 4 days ago.
Oh, I'll believe it when I see it. That's kind of like part of the story of the year in St. Paul, and Carter losing, which I think was unexpected and a little bit of an upset, is just like they don't have local politics over there to the same degree that we do.
Yeah, a lot of things happened. I do think they had trouble maintaining volunteers. There were also like some procedural issues that arose from St. Paul switching to even year elections. That it became difficult for them to like have a mechanism to continue to exist that way, but we got it sorted out. And yeah, I think they had some money problems too.
I think more people in St. Paul, if they had realized there was an election happening, Carter would have stood a much better chance. I think part of why he lost was low turnout, and it's simply the people upset at Carter for whatever reason who showed up, and Carter got lulled into it's his fault for not campaigning harder, but I think with higher turnout he stands a much better chance. I don't know. Did we finish with your list, Taylor?
Yeah, I think, and then I think like one of the some worst moments. I don't know if it's worse, but it's a really weird council staff hiring decision. Elizabeth Schaefer's like,
yeah, I like this. Yeah,
podcasting pastor who's a rapper, and then someone from the Hill and Lake Press. It's all just like
yeah,
weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where just like you got to expect Jacob Fry will play some shenanigans with his vetoes. You got to expect, shame on you if you don't expect Elizabeth Schaefer will hire a guy from the Hill and Lake Press to be your council office staff. That's on us for not anticipating that. And of course, the Christian podcasting rapper that she hired, which is maybe funnier than the Hill and Lake Press one.
Yeah, that's a worst. And then I think another worst, just a worst moment maybe for that person was Lisa Goodman's checks moment.
I jump in on that too.
Yeah. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Jacob. So I'm holding checks, Lenny, from a lot of people who contributed to this multi-candidate expenditure in our ward to help Elizabeth, because some of the largest contributors at the 5,000 level didn't feel comfortable giving the money to the DFL. If the decision is overturned, I have permission to cash a bunch of those checks. You're welcome to add to the pot, by the way.
From the PAC meeting saying she was holding checks until they overturned the Omar Fate endorsement. I think that looked really bad for her, but still not enough to cut her job.
Yeah.
And then a worst moment. My biggest disappointment is I can't buy Cam Gordon socks online on the Wedge Live store anymore. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that product was discontinued.
The product was discontinued.
Taylor is obsessed with socks that I sold maybe 2017 era that have Cam Gordon's face on them, and like gas station plastic bags, like shopping bags, and was it Newport cigarettes, like menthols, I think. So Cam Gordon, when he was on the city council, this is for young people who don't remember the Cam Gordon era, he was famous for like banning things like plastic bags and menthol cigarettes, and forcing grocery stores to sell certain food items. Just a heavy-handed big government type, that Cam Gordon. And so I made socks that had his face on them, and like the no symbol around cigarette packages and gas station plastic bags, because the gas station lobby was so mad at him for coming after their beloved plastic bags. And we sold them as socks. We sold very few. I think Latricia Vitaw bought the tote bag version of that design, and she was very happy with her tote bag. And all these years later, Latricia Vitaw not as happy with me as she used to be, and my sense of humor.
She should give it to me if she still has it.
Latricia Vitaw, if you're listening, Taylor Dahlin wants your Cam Gordon tote bag.
The worst. Oh, we got Cindy Martin. Cindy Martin resigned finally. That was a good one. That was kind of like a long, overarching story. That was like both a worse story because it, exemplified such bad things about the DFL. But then we gotta have, she resigned.
Covered on TaylorDahlin.com and referenced on the Minnesota Reformer. Said that I forget how they characterized you coming after. I have. We'll do yours last, Josh, because it's going to be the best, right? You're the most prepared.
Most prepared.
Okay.
All right. So I don't have video or sound clips prepared for these, and so I will insert it later, and it will make more sense. Cornhole concerns at the zoning committee. There was that meeting where I forget what bar it was.
The Cedar Inn, because they have the carrot cart.
Cedar Inn. And
remember this? that was like, I have to eat the carrots in my fridge over tacos. Like, that's them.
Right? They're always the subject of controversy. The lady at the zoning committee showed up to testify and said,
"There's currently boisterous talking. The cornhole game leads to a continuous thunking noise as the beanbags hit the target. When one goes in the hole, there's a loud cry of success. There seems to be no attempt by the bar to keep the noise level down."
So I always feel like Minneapolis is getting back to glory days when the biggest concerns in people's lives are the loud thunking and the cries of success at the cornhole games. So that's one of my best moments. There's the great moments in immigration enforcement where, Ola Repa, the manager, I believe, faces off with ICE agents, and
I had asked them if they had a judicial warrant, and they said, "We don't need one." I said, "Yes, you do."
General Manager Naomi Rathke says she was going over ICE protocols with other employees to ensure they knew their rights when the agents walked in. She asked them to leave because they did not have a signed warrant, which she knew they're required to have inside a private business.
They don't have power over me. They don't have power over us. So I'm not scared of them, honestly.
So good advice for people about these judicial warrants. Make them produce one, and if they don't have one, they need to go away. Oh, the encroachment walk on Cedar Lake with Jake Werner. Jason Garcia managed to get elected park commissioner while participating in that walk hosted by Jake and I, and we walked through the backyards of mansion dwellers who are building their docks and their patios and their rock walls way too close to Cedar Lake. And we got a good group of, how many would you estimate attended that, Taylor? 20, 30 people?
Maybe 20, yeah.
And we walked through those backyards, and that was a lot of fun. And my thanks to Jake Werner for bringing that issue to my attention, and because that was a great moment, great photos Taylor took of that event. It's on my list, Taylor, the time you made the Crime Watch AI portrait. And I think it's the equivalent of winning the Minneapolis Pulitzer Prize when Crime Watch creates an AI portrait of you. And very flattering, Taylor. They made you look so good in this AI portrait.
Right?
Could you not instruct the AI to make it unflattering?
I don't know what, like, how does the AI know what's going on? Is she training the AI to know what I look like? It's not even what I look like anymore.
But is there a photo of you somewhere that does look like this?
I think so. It looks vaguely familiar, like it's old. Like it does, I don't know exactly which one though.
Maybe that was used as like a prompt. I don't know. Are you lying about Bloomington and Lake? Is that what this is about?
Well, she's mad because she actually lied. So I just said, I went through the same thing. It was so funny. The same thing that like the council did where they were being accused of lying. But all I said was ICE were seen.
Correct.
Which is true. But Shelley wrote something like photos from the site of like an ICE raid when she tweeted it. Mm-hmm. So like it's very clear who lied and who actually didn't, but I don't know why she's so mad at me.
Well, the controversy around that and whether council members were like speaking out of turn by characterizing it as ICE or like inflaming tensions looks very silly in retrospect because the only thing to come from that was an immigration charge. There's no case about some transnational criminal gang. No word of that. It was just an immigration charge. And the way they came in, all, militarized up with an armored car looking like they're ready for war was clearly to instigate some things and terrorize the community.
Well, and they had that right-winger, Nick Shirley was embedded with them, and now he's back in Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. He was just in Lawrence yesterday. So it's like, yeah.
The level of trust, and I guess maybe this was political, from Fry placed in the Trump's federal agents to accurately say why they're doing a thing that clearly feels wrong. I guess they felt like they had to because otherwise they get in trouble for collaborating with ICE. Clob undies. Does anyone know what clob undies refers to, Taylor?
Yes, the Amy Klobuchar underwear you kept finding on Lindale.
Yeah. Taylor is tracking news like the PACs documenting the true history of the 2025 campaign. What I spent 2025 doing was an investigation of Klobuchar underwear. Someone scattering across the Wedge Whittier area these like size 3 G-string bikini things with Amy Klobuchar's face printed on the front. I still haven't gotten to the bottom of it, but
it's like the parkboard mystery.
Yeah. Make sure you're watching on youtube.com/wedgelive for photos of the Clob Undies, as they're called. This episode is sponsored by Clob Undies. It's the only underwear that I wear. They sent me a sample pack, and I have them on right now. Another one of my favorite things to happen this year, people were tubing down Minnehaha Creek as I stood on the bridge on Bryan Avenue looking down the creek, and they shouted up at me. They gave me their phone number, and they said, "Take our photo and text it to us." And I did. And that was the inspiration for Wedge Live Float Fest, which was maybe the best event I have ever created. Better than the Cat Tour is Wedge Live Float Fest. We inflate tubes and we float down Minnehaha Creek. You don't like Float Fest, Taylor?
It's not better than the Cat Tour.
You've never been. You didn't come to Float Fest.
I was doing some other horrible thing that day, some not fun politics thing, I think.
Well, we're doing Float Fest again next year for sure, and people should come.
Oh, was it Cedar Fest?
What?
It was the same day as Cedar Fest. That was it.
We did it a couple of times. You had multiple opportunities to come to a Float Fest. It was so much fun. We had to do it immediately after, and it's a lot of fun. You should do it. I recommend it, even if it's not in a Wedge Live capacity. Float down the creek on your own. The Cat Tour was featured for an entire episode of the Emmy-winning PBS animal TV show Shelter Me. I recommend people watch that when it airs because I think they had so many cameras. I think they're going to do a good job capturing the insanity of that event. It should be coming soon. That's what they told me. The Fry campaign commanding their supporters to evacuate the DFL convention, screwing over his allied park board candidates. Does everyone have fond memories of that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was good. That was so beautiful.
Yeah. Hennepin Avenue and the new E-Line bus rapid transit, truly maybe the best thing that has happened since I moved to the Wedge in 2012. I love the new street, and I've ridden the bus. It's amazing. I think that's going to be a real asset and something that will be affecting lives in the greater Wedge metro area for just generations to come. What a great thing. Here, on to my worst moments. I forgot one of the best moments, being found not guilty. This is the best for Taylor too. Being found not guilty on all counts at campaign finance court. Remember that, Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I made
Josh Martin court.
Right. Josh declared us not guilty too. You had a big gavel or a tiny, was it tiny gavel, right? Tiny gavel. I forget what size.
It was a normal size gavel.
Normal size gavel. I couldn't remember if it was a comedy gavel or not.
I do have some comedy gavels, but that was a real gavel.
Okay.
I expected Becca to sue someone again after she lost. Just quiet.
We defeated her so hard that she had no appetite for more campaign finance court.
Good. I don't either.
If people don't realize, should we give any backstory? City council candidate in Ward 12 who lost big, Becca Thompson, decided Taylor and I were responsible for a series of flyers and the website, which was clearly parody to anyone reading them. There was a parody element of it, and clearly not much money or skill had gone into this. I don't want to insult the comedy of the person responsible, but not a lot of money, not a lot of skill. Unlikely that enough had been spent for it to be a campaign finance violation. But even so, just wildly speculating that it was Taylor and I. And if you have enough determination and enough animosity against someone, you can just file a campaign finance complaint and force good a wonderful award-eligible journalists like Taylor and I to come to buy clothes, to buy job interview clothes, and show up in campaign finance court to defend ourselves. That was such a headache and financial burden for us, Taylor.
Yeah, we got sent these like 20-page thing, and it's like you spent it's like a picture of my phone, and it's like she spent over $700 on a phone. Therefore, it's we've reached the limit. Like it was just insanity.
Meanwhile, I'm just so bent out of shape. I had to spend like $30 on pants because the kind of life I lead that I don't even have pants that are appropriate for a judge. That's what she did to me. There's no way I'm spending any money attacking Becca Thompson anonymously. I could do that under my own name. We were acquitted. We are
innocent.
So that's also among the worst things to happen in 2025. We survived. Bill Mondale getting shoved. A Mondale getting shoved at Ward 7. How did that not make your list, Taylor?
There was simply too much, because it's like if I get into like the Cedar Lake encroachers, then you get into how one of them is the Republican donor from Ward 7. It's all just like, I feel like Charlie at a board at some point. You know what I mean? If I get doing it.
Yeah, So I've started saying that the moment I became Minnesotan was seeing a Mondale get shoved at a DFL convention. I think that's the most Minnesotan thing that's ever happened to me.
If only we'd been filming it, because we have like the moments after, and we do have on video the moment where the woman gets on the floor when it's supposed to be frozen too.
Mm-hmm.
But no one has the actual shove. So
the purge of DSA members in Ward 2, that was a low moment for local politics. I feel like just deciding if we think you have any connection to the DSA, you can't be here at this convention with us. Promoting the cop, but this is a serious one. Promoting the cop who shot Amir Locke to be in charge of training for MPD. That was a low moment. Worst campaign strategy, I'm naming these awards. Lydia Millard campaigning as the candidate of anti-bike grievance before adjusting in the final month to being the candidate who sends you photos of herself on a bike and calling herself a bike advocate. That one really made me mad. Calling yourself a bike advocate when I have been at candidate forums where you have been just super hostile about bike infrastructure. You shouldn't do that. Nobody bought it either, so... the passing of Tulip Lady, owner of Tulip House, Lisa Ann Stortz. That happened in 2025. Hopefully we will still have tulips in the future, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's really a one-person thing, and when that person goes, who will take it over and carry on the tradition?
Is the house for sale?
I believe it was for sale, and I don't know if it's been purchased. It may have been. It was weird to see that in headlines about like house for sale. The famous Tulip House is for sale.
Well, hopefully someone good buys it who wants to keep it up. Otherwise, it's going to be disappointed.
I imagine that a lot of money went into that because she would hire a team of like landscapers to do that every year. So it would be a big investment for someone to carry that on. The best Scott Graham being a belligerent weirdo. I'm surprised this didn't make your list, Taylor. Scott Graham, high-ranking DFL official, smuggling food into a DFL convention, calling a guy who tried to stop him a Nazi. Do I have that accurate?
A Jewish guy.
A Jewish guy who tried to stop him a Nazi.
Yeah.
Belligerent weirdo Scott Graham.
There's just so much with him, because I was also thinking, was this the moment that he was like, he had that little, the Protect Our Platform, and he's at Ward 2 with those pamphlets that are like, we got to purge the DSA or whatever. So he's everywhere. He's too many places.
Yeah, purge the DSA became a real theme of 2025. Okay, Josh, we're ready for your list. Hopefully it's good.
All right, so certainly there was some overlap with some of your lists, so some of them had to get struck off. But I think I thought of a few that haven't mentioned yet. Marquez Jones riding off on an AI-generated lawnmower.
Good catch.
Into the sunset days before the Ward 9 convention was pretty great.
Among the weirdest campaigns of 2025 was Marcus Jones, because had the bio of a real formidable candidate, like firefighter.
Yeah, correct.
This could be something. It seemed like a lot of the money people were going to line up behind him. He would have a well-funded campaign, but really just no apparent desire to actually run a campaign beyond a few short weeks of weirdness.
And forever now, we can describe candidates dropping out as riding off on an AI-generated lawnmower into the sunset.
I don't even know if it was AI. I think that may have been handcrafted. It was so bad it may have been a handcrafted animation. You don't think so? Right. But I do like that we now have that phrase, the inside joke, that when a candidate really flops, they rode off in a lawnmower.
The only real Democrat comment by Josh Bassett at Ward 8.
Yeah. Rarely do you get booed for the normal question, will you abide by the endorsement? He found a way to answer that. You could say yes or no, but he found a way. Nobody gets booed for answering yes or no, really. Sometimes if somebody says no, they get booed, but it's a smattering of boos.
Correct.
The way Josh Bassett answered it, I'm the only real Democrat, got him heartily booed at the Ward 8 convention.
Some of the bad things, of course, the Ward 2 convention, Cyrus already mentioned. A sad moment was Emily Koski dropping out of the mayoral race. Mm-hmm. I did think she was an interesting candidate, and we'll never know what would happen if she had stayed in. And I also wanted to mention the Park Board District 4 curse. Because we as a public service announcement, we have to tell people not to run for Park Board District 4 because bad things happen to people who run for Park Board District 4.
Yeah, I think half the people who ran in District 4 died or had serious consequences befall them. Like, not many really
We should
survived.
clarify, no one died.
That was an exaggeration. No one died. But lots of bad things happened.
Yeah.
I feel like the people who ended up with the happiest ending left without running a real campaign. They had the happiest ending. And the person who won, our friend Jason Garcia, had maybe the scariest experience. Right. Yeah. Health related.
Curse gets stronger the longer you stay in the race.
Now, I mean, Jason has suffered so many trials and tribulations that Jason cannot be defeated ever again. Just whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And now Jason Garcia is the strongest park commissioner we have ever had. Okay, and now Josh Bassett, going back to your Josh Bassett thing, Josh Bassett is back running for county commissioner.
He's running for Hennepin County District 3 against Marion Green.
Yeah.
That race is honestly feeling like a little like District 4 to me already, just in the sheer amount of people that are going for it.
How many candidates do we have?
4.
Is it
4, including Marion Green?
So, and it's weird. It's like she's got knives out for her both on the left and the right. So it's going to be an interesting one.
And I don't think anyone was clamoring for Josh Bassett to get back and become a candidate again. I don't know. And it's like when you do it immediately, like you just clearly just enjoy being a candidate to a degree that none of the voters actually enjoy you being a candidate. It's just take a rest. I don't know. It's one thing if you're a perennial candidate, but like when you just slide from one campaign right into the next, you just want to be elected to something. And I don't want to elect people like that.
Because it's like, the skills and the knowledge for all these positions is different. You can't just go from mayor to council to now you're county commissioner. It's like, what do you actually know? What do you actually care about? I just don't.
That's a good point, because in the span of one calendar year, Josh Bassett has run for mayor, city council, and county commissioner. Like, that gets you a huge point deduction on the Josh Martin viability index. Like when you run for
Which you insisted on.
I insisted on this metric, and I think it was a good call. The Josh Martin, the famous Josh Martin viability index, which had a really good record of predicting candidate viability this year. It deducts points if you run for multiple offices in the same year. Does that carry over to 2026? Will he get points deducted for having.
I don't know. I will have to think about that.
I don't think we anticipated a man of such ambition as Josh Bassett that we would need to factor in, rolling from a city council campaign straight into a county commissioner. I believe the spirit of the rule says points are deducted, but maybe technically he gets away with it. Okay, Person of the Year, Josh, we need your nominations for Person of the Year. And remember, using the Time Magazine standard, it can be someone who hasn't done good things. It can be a person who was impactful for their negative contributions. Keep that in mind.
I certainly think Jacob Fry could be Person of the Year.
I agree.
He was the focus of this election. He is the mayor. He will continue to be the mayor.
3 terms.
I think you can make an argument for Jason Garcia, who won Park Board District 4, and I think what was a difficult race, both politically and personally. Near and dear to my heart, I might nominate Soren Stevenson.
I don't know. When you run against Josh Bassett, you're basically,
but I mean, this is a bookend to a race that started 2 years ago against the council president, and he came within 38 votes, and now he will be on the Minneapolis City Council.
And giving white guys a role model to look up to, like we haven't had in Minneapolis for a while. We've only had Michael Rainville for so long. Michael Rainville and Jacob Fry, white men in this city finally have someone to look up to.
And I feel like I should also nominate the manager at Hola Arepa who kicked out ICE.
Yeah. Wow. Those are some good nominations. You stole most of mine, I think. I also had Mayor Fry. I also had Jason Garcia. I had Lawyer to the Stars Dan Souter because Taylor and I would be in such awful legal straits if we hadn't had the services of Lawyer to the Stars Dan Souter. And I was prepared to do like a Michael Rainville style personal injury law firm testimonial for Dan and just talk about how much great care he took of us, treated us like family. And that's no exaggeration. Dan really is such a caring person and made sure we were taken care of. So lots of appreciation for Dan Souter. Amber Frederick's Dowry, I also have as my Person of the Year nomination because it turns out I think Taylor also unearthed this. One of the major PACs at play in 2025 was the wedding fund of Amber Frederick, which I think funded some large portion of Amber's campaign. Amber didn't understand, or maybe was being super transparent by saying that the source of the money she loaned her campaign was her own wedding fund, which I found to be hilarious. Enough to make my list of potential Person of the Year. Taylor, do you have nominees?
Yeah, Person of the Year. I think Jason Garcia, I was going to say that too, just pulling off kind of what feels like an impossible campaign. Just the circumstances, the District 4, really, really good work. It's the little details. You look at it back and you're like, they didn't even have any yard sign and they won. It's one of those things that people just kind of assume is necessary. And it's like, well, they won without it. So yeah, that's been, and just little things like, they came on the Cedar Lake walk with us and were part of that. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, someone was kind of like, was kind of giving advice. It was just like, I don't know if I would have recommended that they do that. It's like, well, it worked anyway. So, Jason. And then also I kind of wanted, like, since it's like Time Person of the Year, and I think they once did a weird one that was like, I want like, the landlord and developer class of Minneapolis who make up the donors to the PACs.
Yeah, the PACs.
That conglomerate of people. Yeah, like, the Rockefellers, all the high-end donors who are like shadowy people. Like, I tried to expose them this year and give them their time in the moment. And then also, I don't know, just those two. I didn't want to say the mayor. No, I didn't want to say the mayor.
3 terms. Because it's hard to find someone who won a difficult election this year. Like, not really many unexpected results.
No.
And so I think Fry had the most attention on him, the most scrutiny, and got elected to a 3rd term. He's got to be way up there.
Yeah, I'm just more like, the landlord people. We never see them. We never talk about them. Like those are my people of the year. The people that didn't want to be exposed and named.
I may be inclined to agree with you, Taylor. Do we think the PACs,
like the John Wall, you know?
do we think the
John Wall
PACs flipped the result?
I think they did a lot of damage. I think especially all of Minneapolis, what they did with the media narrative. And I think it's, you know, and looking back and it feels, I know there's some people who feel like, you know, the narratives that they put out about Bate and about the, you know, fraud and whatnot have like led to or played a part in what we're dealing with now with ICE here and Trump focusing on us. Like, because it's like, I don't know if you can just like throw all that stuff out all this year and then suddenly now that the feds are doing the same thing, you're, I don't know.
Right. And that precarious state documentary, which like lifted video from a podcast episode we did with Aisha Chugtai and was like, this bike ride looks wholesome, but like there's nefarious, this isn't your grandma's DFL party or Democratic Party. I forget how they phrased it. There was a lot of money spent on this election, an unprecedented amount of money by these groups. And so I think I'm inclined to agree with Taylor that the person of the year are the Fry Packs and constellation of big money spent trying to influence the city election.
Person of the year is money.
Well, it has to be more specific, Josh. We have to say the Fry Packs to make it sexy. And we have to do like an AI generated image of the Fry Packs on a Time magazine cover. Do you agree with us, Josh, that it is the Fry Packs?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that.
The Fry Money Machine, is that a better way to characterize it?
Yeah, I think that's...
Sorry, Jason Garcia. You were in the running for Person of the Year. You did a lot.
I would say they can be they're second. Yeah.
You put your body on the line for us, and we appreciate it, but not good enough to win Person of the Year. And thanks also to runner-up Amber's Dowry, the wedding fund of Amber Frederick. Is it
so
okay?
2 out of 3 of the people of the year are money.
Right. I guess Amber's Dowry technically does win because that's big money. That is a big money player.
I don't know if it's that big money, but
it's not Fry money. It's not part of the Fry money machine. It's a pack on the good side. Amber's Dowry. Is it okay for me to characterize that as Amber's Dowry?
Sure. I think so.
All throughout history, women have been given dowries to finance their campaigns for park board. We thought that the days of women using their dowries to fund park board campaigns was over, but it's still alive and well in Minneapolis. Oh, I wanted to do like a favorite things segment. You know, it's the holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking for not necessarily gift ideas. It could be stuff people could buy for them, buy for themselves. Like what products or entertainment do you find useful to you that you think would improve the lives of our listeners that they should buy for themselves or others?
Well, I was going to say you got to buy the THC drinks while you can.
THC
Those
drinks,
make me
come
happy.
on, Taylor. You're telling people to buy drugs?
I am. I've subscribed recently to Apple TV, which I've never watched anything on that platform, and it turns out they make like really good content. Yeah. So I've really been enjoying that. When it was warmer, I was biking a lot and using this app called Beeline, Beeline, but it's like a GPS app, and so it like you can do a heat map of where you've gone in the city. So it was like kind of like a little game for me. I was like trying to bike around like all these different streets and color them on the map. So that makes it fun. And then it's not really a product, but like some restaurants you should go to. You should go to Albee Kitchen in Loring Park. It's a Somali cafe on like 14th and Nicollet. And then I also love Marsu Pizza and like Taqueria. It's on Lake and kind of close to Lake in Bloomington, but it's like there's like Mexican pizzas, like Tacos al Pastor pizza. And then I like some of those bakeries on there. So you should go to more places around there.
Okay. Josh, what are your recommendations here? Your favorite things, products and services that are making your life better? You look stumped. You didn't prepare for this, did you?
No. some restaurants. Creekside Supper Club is one of the favorites for me and Beth. War Date restaurant. I also Beth and I recently went to Boucheron, which is a little pricier, so save that for a special occasion. But like James Beard award winner and all that, it's very, very fancy, very good food. That's in Kingfield.
Appropriate for this episode, I recommend screen recording software, OBS Studio, which is the official screen recording software of Taylor Dahlin,
Wedge Live,
I believe. That's how you record Zoom meetings. Here's a weird one. No one is going to expect for me to say this, but moisturizer. I don't have the best skin in the world, but over the last few years, I have learned that the key to solving the problems of having like a splotchy redness all over your cheeks, like it's something I struggled with for a while. You think, well, just wash your face, right? Wash your face. And it never really worked. Then I started washing my face and moisturizing with CeraVe. Please sponsor us, CeraVe moisturizer. And like my skin is like 90% better than it used to be. Like moisturizing really works, and it's not that expensive. So I guess it's just like all about the health of your skin and not necessarily that your skin is dirty. I really highly recommend that if you struggle with your face looking red, splotchy, or whatever. It may not work for you, but it worked for me. So I think that's good. Do I have any others? Definitely ride the E-line and appreciate the new Hennepin Avenue. I'm so excited about the new street and the new bus. And I recommend badgering your local elected officials about street projects near you, because these are the things that will last for generations. And they have such a big impact on our lives, how safe we feel in our neighborhoods, how easy it is to get around for people and affordable. And I don't know if there is an issue in local politics where you can have more impact than badgering your local officials about street projects. I really highly recommend that. I wish I had more things to recommend, because I feel like there are probably a bunch of things that I find useful, and but that's the list I have. Like Josh, I didn't prepare well enough for my own podcast episode.
I did prepare some 2026 predictions.
Oh yeah, we do have to talk about 2026.
Just a couple. So I expect Jameson is going to want to challenge you again to another sports, like one-on-one. He's just like, he just like periodically will reply about that you beat him at basketball. And so
they call that cruising for a bruising. Jameson Whiting is just hungry for another defeat. Oh, what could he possibly challenge me at that he would be better at than me?
Another basketball rematch is going to have to be.
Another basketball rematch, okay.
Yeah. And another prediction that the guy that Emily Koski just came out about her restraining order, that guy is going to be back putting up signs again for all the people in 2026. And it's going to...
I don't even know what you do with someone like that, but that's awful.
Yeah. So hopefully he goes away. And then also I don't know what's going on with, what if Walz is a Biden thing? What if he has to not be the nominee?
Do you think Tim Walz's brain will fall out of his head and he won't be able to speak anymore?
No, and I don't think he's actually not going to be the nominee. But like, if people are so unexcited, and it's just like, what if?
People keep bringing up, and I'm talking about Josh now. Steve Simon. You keep bringing up Steve Simon to me, like, oh, Steve Simon, he could do it. And I'm like, I don't know that he has the personality to be a candidate for governor. I'm a mild-mannered person. I'm not, eccentric and loud. I don't have a big personality, but I don't know in this day and age, people will accept a normal person who doesn't really light up people's screens. I think Steve Simon is too boring to be a candidate. Josh, do you want to respond to that?
Well, first of all, I think Walz is probably continuing to be the nominee, but for whatever reason he chooses not to, I actually do think Steve Simon can be a quite exciting speaker, and I think he might be able. Also, I think having a steady hand and just calm demeanor may be appealing to people right now. That might be a nice contrast to what we have at the federal level. It might also be something that would make people feel good about getting the house back in order about some of the stuff that's been going on in Minnesota.
Well, I think Steve Simon is probably great, and I would vote for him. I just like trying to put myself in the place of other people. I just don't know if he feels too traditional to me in a way that some people find attractive, but I think most people want people want crazy people to run for office now. I think that we're in the age of influencers running for office.
Like Lindell? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Mike Lindell style candidates, but people want big personalities, and that's how you get attention. I don't know that Steve Simon can earn anyone's attention. I don't think anyone wants to pay attention to Steve Simon, and I appreciate that about Steve Simon, but I don't think it's a good thing when you're running for governor that no one will pay any attention to you because you're just so normal. But I don't know. Here's one you will appreciate, Josh, about something I hope we learn going from 2025 going into 2026 is that appreciating that we have two branches of local government, the executive and legislative, that have their roles to play, and that we should stop trying to diminish one and give all power to another. Like, it's crazy to think, like, 5 years on from George Floyd, we still have this effort to like diminish the council and reduce their power, like in this example, to confirm mayoral appointments to things like
see what happens with that,
regulatory services and the health department, and what are the other ones that are potentially
public works, although they might add that one back in, CPED.
I don't know, this has never been a problem, the council having this power. They're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist, and all it does is create a system that has less and less oversight. Like when people complain about Mayor Fry using his vetoes this year, I know at least one of you has mentioned this on the podcast today, but I'm going to say, like, I don't find that compelling. Like, it's a power that he has, and like the part of the rules of the game is the mayor has this power, and it's fine. It's checks and balances. Okay, he has the power. And like, if you have a problem with any of his individual vetoes, we could talk about that. But like just saying the mayor used his vetoes as if that is a problem in and of itself. No, that's how the system works. And so we need to like respect that the council should have the power to confirm mayoral appointees of very powerful departments. Like that should be taken as a given. Why would we want to change this? I'm assuming the people on the Charter Commission who want to change this are Democrats and probably recognize some problems with the way our federal system is operating right now. And they seem to have wanted to change to a strong mayor system to like mimic the way the federal system works and the way various state governments work and city governments work to a strong mayor system. So they should, respect the idea that a lot of these other systems have confirmation power for all these department heads. That's the way it should work. Let's stay consistent with that if those are your principles. So I'm hoping we have that in 2026, and that doesn't get on the ballot. They should just stop messing around with that, please. Checks and balances. That's my hopes and dreams for 2026 is respect for checks and balances. Josh, did we get to your hopes and dreams for 2026?
Well, I agree with checks and balances, certainly. I think there's also, as always, at the end of a council term, there's like a lot of unfinished work that's going to carry into the next council term. Probably the big one, given the recent veto we talked about, is we need to continue to figure out what are we going to do to resolve the issue of homelessness in Minneapolis. I don't know that we've really made a lot of progress on that this year. So hopefully next year there will be some will from both the mayor and the council to do something, and hopefully in a way that recognizes that the solution to the problem is getting treating these people with humanity and dignity, and ultimately getting them into housing, and not just the problem is we don't want to see the homeless people so we don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, we've gotten into this, like, I'm so irritated by the response being when something bad happens under the mayor's current policy towards encampments. Well, it's the council's fault because they have suggested things to change the way we deal with homeless encampments. Well, no, the problem is the current way we handle it, and like whether you agree with the changes they want to make, they haven't been implemented. And so the problems we have now are a result of the failure of the current approach. And so it's not enough to get up and give a press conference blaming people with other ideas, clamoring for a change to the system, because we definitely do need a change to fix the problem. The way we're doing it right now isn't working. And so hopefully we can get past the blame game of pretending that like the city council has legalized encampments, because we haven't enacted the city council's approach. We're operating under Mayor Fry's approach. He's got a third term, and so maybe he can finally, finish the job on that 5-year plan to end homelessness that passed by a couple of years ago. Well, happy 2025, happy end of 2025, everyone. We hope you have a very happy holidays, happy New Year. From Taylor Dahlin, from Josh Martin, from me, your host, John Edwards. Happy holidays from the Wedge Live podcast, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Can't